What is going on, guys? DBG here, and today we are going to be doing another NBA 2K22 MyTEAM tier list lads. So we are going to be doing a tier list of the best point guards in NBA 2K22 MyTEAM. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 280,000 subscribers by the end of this month. The way things are, we're going at the end of last month, it's looking like we might do it. We're like 3.2 thousand subs away, so or 3.3 thousand subs. It's actually kind of getting close. So a huge shout out, a huge thank you for all the support recently. It's actually been crazy. It's been crazy how much you guys have been enjoying these content, how much you guys have been viewing these videos since Christmas. So a huge thank you. But again, if you're new to the MyTEAM game mode, this is the best place to learn about it. So anyway, now we are going to get on to it. So we have got right here Alex Caruso. We got all of these cards, about 62 of them, some decent ones. So Caruso, I'm going to put Caruso in A. I'm higher on Alex Caruso than 99% of people. I just want to make that clear. I am super high on this card. Like he was in my squad for quite a while. I think his just ability to spot up and shoot and play defense is immaculate. I don't think there are any real flaws with this card. Again, I know a lot of people are not that high on Caruso, and it's kind of understandable because he's not the greatest on offense, but for me, on defense, I just think I think he's that good on defense, and his jumper is really good. He just plays better than Eddie Jones. Even though I'm not gonna say he's better than Eddie Jones, but for me, he played better than Eddie Jones when he was in my squad. So I'm gonna put him in here, mainly because, well, he's been spectacular anytime I've used them, and at the end of the day, you can only judge cards by how they played when you've used them, and if he's been brilliant with me, there's no point to me not putting him in a high spot. And we got Allen Iverson. I'm gonna put this Iverson probably in D tier. He was good for his time. Like when he came out, the walk back was still in the game. People forget about that, and everyone's like, oh no, it was the left, right, no, the walk back was even still in the game. Like, three hunting was a thing. Like everyone, like, we know that the game is just run to the basket now, but like three hunting was actually a thing when the game first came out. Like the walk, because if someone backed off, you could just walk back. As well as the walk back animation, there was a lot of other things. There was the side to side. Honestly, three hunting just was really elite in my opinion. So at that time, this Iverson, I'm gonna go A tier. I actually think this he's good. Like, don't get me wrong, this Iverson's good. I don't think he's S. I think he's too much of a liability on the defensive end to be S tier. Like, look, if you're playing this game offline or you're just looking for a pure three hunter, he's number 2 outside of Steph Curry in my opinion. Like, he's not a bad player, and he does a lot of things quite well. But for me, I just think that I cannot justify putting him in S. I don't think he's Gary Payton. I don't even think he's like, you can't really compare to Magic Johnson. He just gets eaten alive by these guys. And I understand he does certain things better, but if I'm putting a three hunter here, it'll be Curry. Putting a three hunter here, it's gonna be Steph Curry, who in my opinion is quite a bit better than Iverson. Kuzis are gonna go E and D. Screw it. No, they're gonna go D and C. Kuzi's got a really nice player build. The big thing about Kuzi is that he's just got really long arms. Because he's got really long arms, he just gets a bunch of steals. He plays better defense than he should. And again, one of the things with him is that the reason why his Amethyst is better than his Diamond is his Amethyst can get every badge in the game, and his Amethyst comes with half mismatch expert, which for a 6'1" player with a kind of slow release is like maybe the most important badge he can have. Maybe the most important one. So yeah, we have these kind of low, but I'll go C tier. Brandon Jennings. Oh my god, Trey Murphy 2.0. The Trey Murphy clone himself. You guys don't know, he is one of only 2 guards in the game that have big dribble style. Basically, Rudy Fernandez and Brandon Jennings are 2 cards that Well, Rudy Fernandez, they gave him ridiculous stuff last year. Brandon Jennings was not in 2K last year. So they just gave him new stats. And when 2K give a player new stats, they normally just pick a random NBA player. And instead of, for Brandon Jennings, picking, I don't know, like a small, fast point guard, they, and same with Rudy Fernandez, maybe like an athletic kind of shooter. They made both of them clones of a 6'8" rookie power forward named Trey Murphy. I don't know who Trey Murphy is, gotta be completely honest, but yeah, basically Brandon Jennings cannot do a dribble move, because if he tries to do a dribble move, he trips over his feet because of a big dribble stop. Brandon Jennings is awful. He is absolutely awful, worthless. CP3, same as Kuzi. I think this Kuzi's slightly better than both. And he does get half mismatch expert. I think just the wingspan situation with CP3 isn't the greatest. Kobe White should be better than he is. I stand by that. Kobe White should be better than he is. I don't like this card. His movement is decent. But that's about it. Like, I don't even mind Jamal Murray. I like the release. Like, I am a big fan of the release that Kobe White has. Like, there are not that many people that are going to be higher on base 80 than me. Like, it's the Kuz release. I'm so high on it. But, like, it's hard to do anything when he just doesn't have the badges. He's not quick for a step or anything. He's 6'5" PG. I think we'll get a good Kobe White card. I don't think this is it. Cole Anthony. I'm going to put Cole Anthony in C tier. If you can get used to that release, Cole Anthony's actually really good. Like, it is a big if. It is definitely a big if, because I know a lot of people aren't going to get used to that release. But the reason, again, I got to put him in here is that, like, if you do get used to it, it's really good. Like, he moves well, he dunks well. So, like, he's a more than usable card. It's just he has that Paul Pierce release, which I can't stand. And I know, but there are people that like him, so I'll give him C tier for that. Because again, like, he does come like shifty. He does move very, very well for a PG, especially a cheap PG. And he does have a duo with Jonathan Isaac, who a lot of people like. This Dame, I'm gonna put this Dame in E tier, but man, this Dame was that dude week 1. He was that dude. Like, clearly it's not week 1 right now. So there's, like, it's not blasphemy putting the guy in E tier. But I mean, if you need a Ruby point guard to score, Dame might be the best scoring Ruby point guard in the game. I don't even think I'm gassing it. This Dame might be the best scoring Ruby point guard in the game. He plays no defense. Like, don't get me wrong, he absolutely plays no defense whatsoever. But even without playing defense, he might just be worth a look in if you're a big Damian Lillard fan. Actually, what am I talking about? Why would you ever use this card? But no, he's not that awful. This Dame, I'm gonna put him in the Iverson tier. I think he's very similar to Iverson. Like, he's undersized for a point guard. He shoots the ball well. He's got range. I prefer him that little bit to Iverson, but I just think he's so much of a liability on defense for a lot of people. And I know people can cook with him. And this is the Iverson, Steph Curry / Dame debate, where it's like, there's a lot of really good players that use them. But most of the time, like, I really struggle with them. And most of the time when I play against them, I don't struggle guarding them, but I score on them every time. So, like, I don't like using these cards, and I love playing against them. Unless, of course, you're playing someone who's actually good with them, which is kind of a rarity. If you are watching this video thinking Dame should be S, Iverson should be S, and you're one of those guys that are really good with these cards, then cool. I don't disagree with you. There are certain people at their S tier. However, for more people than not, they're going to struggle so badly in defense, these guys doesn't make up for their offense. Dave Bing, B. Dave, I like Dave Bing. I know if you're someone like Ty, if he makes his list, he's going to have Dave Bing and Worthless. I'm sorry, Dave Bing can move. I like set shot 4. What more is there? Well, that's the one thing with set shot 4. It's not that I like it. I don't hate it. Like, it's by no means a good release for a point guard. Like, I'm not out here saying set shot 4 is the best release in the world, but it's fine. It's so much better than, like, base 11 and stuff. It's one of the better set shots in the game. Like, set shot 14, however, might be in the top 5 easiest to green releases in this entire game. Like, there are really good set shots. Set shot 4 is not one of the really good ones, but it's also one of the, it's not one of the bad set shots either. Heck, even set shot 3 is not terrible. Like, for me, it's just when it goes to like set shot 1, set shot 5, Joakim Noah, set shot 16, 17, 18 are all slow. But like, I don't mind set shot 4, and it's fast. It's fast. For me, it's like a slightly better, it's like a better version of base 11. You get Davion Mitchell. I mean, he is E tier. Like, and I like Davion Mitchell. I just want to make that as clear as anything that I actually really like this Davion Mitchell card. I think I've got to put him in E tier because that's where he belongs. Because he's not as good as the like CP3 and stuff. As much as I would love for him to be, he's not, but he's a good Sapphire. De'Aaron Fox, A. De'Aaron's really good. For me, De'Aaron's probably, if I was playing, De'Aaron Fox would be the first player that I would use out of every one of these. It would be De'Aaron. But I know most people would probably have, or a lot of people would be saying De'Aaron's not as good as Iverson or Dame. But for me, De'Aaron is probably De'Aaron would be the first player I would choose to use out of all these. He plays good defense. He moves well. He shoots well. No flaws, really. Dejounte. I think, man, I really want to put Dejounte in A. I really want to put Dejounte Murray in A. I don't know if I can, though. I really don't know if I can afford to put Dejounte in A. Because, I'm going to have to. I think he is at a similar level to a Caruso, slightly worse. Dejounte 6'4", plays really good defense. He's a 6'10" wingspan, good player build, shoots the ball okay, I guess. But yeah, I think this is a fair spot for him. Hey, this Dejounte, they're the same card. The other one just gets hot floor general. Schroeder, I actually think is terrible. Like, his stats aren't good. They're not awful. Like, you might say, oh, there's no way Schroeder's worse than Ruby Dame. Yes, he is. Like, Dennis Schroeder has got literally Charles Oakley release. I don't know why they've consistently given Dennis Schroeder Charles Oakley release, but it's one of the worst in the game. It's one of the worst. I get it. Schroeder was 6'1" last year. Schroeder is now 6'3", so, like, Schroeder's growing. Like, Schroeder is very slowly just growing, but still, I think he's terrible. I just want to make that clear. Like, I think Dennis Schroeder is absolutely terrible. So, I think he's worthless there. Darren Williams, D. D for Darren, D for tier. I don't rate him that highly. I like his release. He's got, his wingspan's not as long as it was last year. His defense isn't as good as it was last year because he used to have a gigantic wingspan. I think later on in the year we're getting all right there and be like 38, but I don't know. I just don't think this card's really it. I don't think this card's it anymore anyway. D-Rose. I'm going to put D-Rose C tier purely for the fact that I've seen people cook with D-Rose in the last like 2 weeks just running at the basket with him. Like, he is still a very good rim running point guard if you know what you're doing. Most people, he's going to suck. That's why he's C tier. Like, for most people, the guy is going to suck. Should he be in a tier with Dave Bing? Yeah, I'll give him B. I'll give him B tier. It's because he has somehow stood the test of time well. Something I did not expect. Tevin Harris stinks, C tier. Tevin Harris absolutely stinks. He's not a good card in my opinion at all. He is one of the weaker. He's one of the weaker diamond cards in the game. Eric Snow, B. I really like Eric Snow. And again, I know a lot of people like Eric Snow. Some people hate Eric Snow. He's one of my favorite point guards in the game. Again, I don't know why. Like, I'm not going to be crazy and put him higher than B tier. But it's just, when I use him, I always say this, like, it's just one of those weird situations where Eric Snow, I just have more success with him than like 90% of other point guards in the game. Even though, like, I know he's not A or S tier. Like, he's not. But he plays like he is for me. Which is Which is most of it. Like, some people like certain cards. Use whoever you're good with. For some reason, it's Eric Snow. Like, he's not quite Gary Payton, so he doesn't make my team, but you better believe there have been times I've considered putting Eric Snow back into my unlimited lineup this season, considering how well he played last season in it. Russell Westbrook Evo. Ooh, I'm gonna go low A for Russell Westbrook Evo. I'm gonna go low A for Westbrook Evo. I think I might have to readjust these tiers. I'm gonna move you two down, you down. I'm gonna move you down. I think that looks better. Westbrook can hit shots. Like, obviously the release is slow, but I mean, he greens. Like, I used to green with his Ruby. Like I would green consistently with Westbrook's Ruby. So like, there's no like, he's a very solid card. His movement isn't the greatest. Russell Westbrook dribble style is not very good, but still, I'm telling you, lads, he's not bad. He's way better than the other Westbrook. Freddie. He had his time. Man, Fred VanVleet had his time. His time is not now. He was good, though. Peyton. Finally, we have an S-tier player. Finally, lads. It has only been like a third of the way through, and we finally have an S-tier point guard. We're only, again, as always with these position lists, we are only ever going to have 3 guys in S-tier. There's only ever, say not 3 guys, there's only ever going to be 5 point guards in the top tier. So that's why you're seeing, for me anyway, like the Dame aren't going to be there. Like, I probably would have Curry as the only 3 hunter in there. Because we also have like some Magic Johnson and stuff. Like, there are other people you kind of have to put in. Gilbert sucks. Like, remember when Gilbert came out, I made a video calling the worst pink diamond in the game. And like, people actually called me an idiot for doing that. Like, again, he's another one of those players that, like, enough time has passed. We don't have to pretend Gilbert Arenas is a good card. Like, I get it when the cards come out and a person says that a card is bad, everyone attacks that person. But like, can we know, like, there are good cards, there are bad cards. Like, not every card in the game has to be a good card. I'm just saying, like, they can release bad players. Bad players being released is perfectly fine. But can we just admit that Gilbert Arenas was never a good card? He was always kind of sucked. So yeah, he's there. IT at this stage, I'm gonna put IT in B. IT's still alright. Like, his dunking's pretty good. His movement is still really nice. His jump shot release is good. Like, this Isaiah Thomas I'm gonna put in C, but I actually like this. I like both Isaiah Thomas cards. I might be the only person that still likes Isaiah Thomas, and I think I might be the only. I might have used that Amethyst Isaiah Thomas more than like 97% of people, but I like that. I really like even the Amethyst of him. I'm just overall a fan of IT, I guess. But yeah, his movement's pretty nice. I'm gonna go a D for Suggs. He's one of the lower players in D, definitely. But I still think D tier is the right spot for him because Jalen Suggs' movement is really good. His release is really, really nice as well. He doesn't come with clamps or a lot of defensive badges, but he still has 6'4", decent length. Like, Suggs is still a brilliant sapphire to use. Like, there's a reason why I was as high as I was on Jalen Suggs when he came out first. Like, and there's a reason why I'm pretty sure I used Jalen Suggs in the first 250k quals. And like almost beat a dude. Like Jack, I almost beat Jack, who's a good player with the best, and he had the best team in the game. He had the best team in the game, and I almost beat him with Jalen Suggs. I just lost like to my like 6 in the 4th. And we had Ja. I'm gonna put Ja in high B, so I don't think Ja is the Aaron. Like, Ja's either going low A for Ja, low A for Ja. I think I'm definitely too low on him saying high B. But yeah, Ja's good. Ja is a very, very solid, good card. His defense leaves a bit to be desired, but overall, I like the card. So he's gonna go A. He got Paul George base, just pretty overall good card. Ace and Kid, C. Really good in defense. Really good in defense. One of the worst shooters in the game. And I think it's a combination. I don't even think it's just his base, because I don't even mind his base that much on Giddy. It's a combination of his base and his upper. Like Jason Kidd, everyone's talking about, oh, Jason Kidd's base is awful. It is awful. Like, it's bad. Like, but it's not like unusually bad. Like, again, I've used it on Giddy, and it felt okay. The problem is that his release combined with his absolute garbage upper, unless you are wide open, don't even bother shooting the ball with Jason Kidd. Sorry, I accidentally pronounced his name wrong. Don't even bother shooting the ball with Ace and Kid, because it is very clear in this game he has no J. This player has absolutely no J. So yeah, Kid, one of the best defensive point guards in the game, but he's C tier. Terry. I mean, I'm gonna put Terry because of his complete lack of defense in C tier. Like, Terry's not as good as Isaiah Thomas. Terry's not as good as Dejounte. Terry's not as good as Eric Snow. Terry can score though. Terry can really score. So if you just want to score with a player, Jason Terry's not bad for that. Jason Williams, he's so ass. He's so bad. Oh my god, I've tried to use him. He's so bad. There are not that many cards in the game that I'll be just sitting there like, no, you definitely should never use this card. They suck. But Jason Williams is one of them. Stockton, Basketball John. Like, his dribble style is not the best. But his dribble style is probably... Or not his dribble style, but it's just overall game. He's better than CP3. He's in that C tier range. Basketball John's in that C tier range. He's not a bad player. John Wall. A. I got A tier for John Wall. He definitely is in that conversation for S. And he might end up in S tier. The more I use John Wall, the more I'm like, okay, I can see why people really like them. I'm still very 50-50 on Wall versus Smart. I kind of regret not selling Wall when the bots were a thing. But, I mean, I'm just going to keep Wall now because I'm not selling Wall for 30k. But, yeah, like, Wall versus Smart is still a really close in my opinion. I'm using Wall at the minute. I think I might switch back to Smart. Well, if Wall starts selling me, I'll switch back to Smart. But, yeah, we're doing all right here. And Wall is probably the best player in A tier right now. He might get moved to S. Screw it, he's going to be S right now. I'm moving to S. BZ is a very good point guard. Then we got Drew. Honestly, Drew's B. Drew still plays really good defense. Drew shoots the ball when he's wide open. I mean, the fact that, like, if you guys have been watching me sometimes on stream playing Clutch Time, I literally use Emerald Drew Holiday sometimes in Clutch Time, and he's fine. Drew gets really good defensive animations. His release is brilliant. At base 29 is one of the best releases in the game. Drew Holiday, fantastic. He's B tier. Kevin Johnson, he's 6'1", base dribble style. Let's see. Like, he can shoot. He's undersized, base dribble style, not the greatest defender in the world, so I think C tier, maybe B tier. Lowry, D. Larry's not that much better than CP3. And his release, it's fine. Nothing spectacular. Like, we had a really good Kyle Lowry card in NBA 2K20 at the start of the game. Like, that Ruby Kyle Lowry card is definitely better than this Kyle Lowry anyway. But yeah, I'll go D tier for him. Kyrie, oh dear lord. The worst defender in the entire game. Like, he sucked week 1 on defense. Like, you could expose Kyrie Irving with anybody. Like, again, this card was so bad on defense that I almost beat JB. And in week 1, JB was seen as one of the top 5 players in the world. I almost beat JB on his host, just abusing Kyrie Irving every single possession. Every possession I attacked Kyrie Irving and nearly beat him. Because he was impossible to hide. You couldn't hide this guy in week 1. If your opponent knew what they were doing, you were scored on every single time by Kyrie. Lenny Wilkins. Lenny Wilkins isn't very good. He's not awful. He's C. Very undersized. He's like a slightly worse Tiny Archibald, in my opinion. His badge and stuff are good, but I mean, he is C. Louis Dampier. Oh, he's a trash can. E tier. He's so trash. And I have him. Like, everyone's saying that I'm a guy who overhypes free and cheap cards. Hell no, I have Louis Dampier. This guy is so bad. Tony Parker release. What the hell have they done to Tony Parker release? It is one of the worst releases. Do you remember, like, we were all happy with Tony Parker release last year? When I think they gave it to, like, Dark Matter James Worthy. And it turned out that it was actually one of the worst releases in the game. We thought Tony Parker was the same as it was in 2K20. We were like, oh, this is like 98. And we all shot with James Worthy and nobody could agree with him. That's the way it is in it. Magic Johnson, S. I'm sorry, like, you can give Magic Johnson to a guy who has never picked up 2K before. Teach them how to do switch everything settings and tell them stand in the corner, user the corner, and Magic Johnson will guard the other team's point guard, their center, their small forward, their power forward. He will guard everyone. Magic Johnson, and then just chill in the corner, don't even attempt to play defense, will get you stops. As well as that, if you are coming up against someone with a load of small players and you've got post badges on all your players, you literally just have to post spin with Magic Johnson and GG's. Like, nobody under 6'6" is going to be able to deal with Magic Johnson post spin. Like, I've even played with Magic against Penny, and Penny struggled to guard the post spin for Magic. So, yeah, Magic is going S tier. For some people, Magic's not going to be great. But for the majority of people, he's just training wheels. Mike Conley's going B. Like, in terms of, like, animations, he moves really well. I know he's one of Denver's favorite players. And Denver will probably even pissed off to see him B and not A. But, like, he doesn't belong in A. He's too undersized. But he's a good defender. He's a really good shooter. If he had range, I might put him low A. But he doesn't. But Mike Conley is actually a really good card. And for winning 10 TT offline games in a row, like, it's not like that's a hard thing to do. It's really, really not like that is a hard thing to do. But, honestly, considering that's all you have to do to get him, this is a great free card last season. Tiny Archibald. I'll go B tier because he can move. He's definitely not A. Not even close to these guys in A. But still, I think B is probably fair. He's small. I think you can maybe argue him high. He's better, in my opinion, he's better than Kevin Johnson. No, I think he's gonna go high. High C. Is he as good as Isaiah Thomas? Screw it. I'll give him B, but he's hovering. Oscar Robertson. He's going B just because he can cheese. Like, I don't know, no one in their right mind should ever lock in for this card, but if you did lock in for him, I played against him. I can't remember who it was. I played against someone who was good with using him, and he was, like, literally unguardable for his time. Like, there was genuinely a stage where the guy was absolutely unguardable for a couple of weeks before there were top point guards. So he's still not bad. He still abuses mismatches, but, like, that's kind of all he does on the floor is abuse mismatches. Then we got Penny S. In my opinion, still the best point guard in my team. I mean, you can still use Magic Johnson for training wheels. Like, that is a point guard that I might argue is better. If you want a 3-hunt, Steph Curry's still probably better. But I mean, he's in the convo. He's in the conversation for number 1. So yeah, he's going S tier. Tall, can play defense. I'm gonna go B tier Pistol Pete. And it's a weird one because I don't like Pistol Pete Maravich. I don't know what it is about him. Because he should. I've been looking at his SIGs and everything. It's like, he's a card that I should love. Like, there's no real weakness in this card. But I just hate him. I want to make it very, very clear. Like, I don't judge just cards by the database. Because if I'm just judging by the database, then I should love Pistol Pete Maravich. But I don't. I just don't know. I don't know. Again, I still to this day do not know what the reason is for me hating Pistol Pete. Because he's 6'5". He's got... his movement's good. Again, shifty dribble style. or quick, one of the two. His animations are alright. He's got good wingspan. His defensive stats are bad. He's got Ray Allen base. There's just something about the card. And again, if I knew what it was, I would let you... If I knew what it was and why I didn't like him, I'd let you guys know, but I don't. I still, to this day, I've messed around with him so much, and I still, to this day, do not know the reason why I hate him. But B. Rondo... I mean, he's like CP3 if CP3 had a 73-pointer. Like, he can play a little bit of defense. I'm sorry, at this stage, he's E tier. Like, Rondo versus Davion Mitchell. Like, Davion Mitchell shoots way better than Rondo. Rondo does certain things better. Like, Rondo will play a tiny bit better defense. But, like, Rondo is E tier at this stage. Ricky Rubio. I mean, he's almost Dejounte. Rubio's not bad. Like, I love that Rubio release. I do want to say that. I really like it off the catch. He's a really good cone point guard. He is a really good cone point guard. Like, his defense is spectacular. He's gone off chef. It's a pity we're probably not going to see another Rubio card this year, because 2K don't really like giving Rubio cards unless they're moments cards. And he's having an incredible season. I still stand by this, one of the most underrated NBA players over the last 10 years, keeping consistently like a top 15 point guard in basketball, which is a hard thing to do over as long a period as Ricky Rubio. And like, to think, obviously he's no Steph Curry, to think people actually call the guy a freaking bust. A guy who's been a starting point guard every year in the NBA, and has been has been on multiple playoff teams, been on a lot of good teams. He's most definitely not a bust. But Rod Strickland, C, I hate him. I hate him. I think C might be generous. C is generous. I'm putting the guy in D tier. Rod Strickland, get out of C, get into D. He was the troll diamond last season. Everyone was going for Paul Silas. And you know what? Nobody got Paul Silas, but everyone got multiple Rod Stricklands. You better believe I got multiple Rod Stricklands. Just like so many people did. I didn't even save the boards for Strickland. That's how little I rated him. Like, normally, just even to get the discards and to use them for exchanges and stuff, I would save the boards if I get a diamond. Nah, Rod Strickland wasn't worth it. Rod Strickland was not even worth opening the pack for. He's related. I think, is he Kyrie Irving's godfather? So they just made him a Kyrie Irving clone, except he's got base dribble style. Ron Harper, I'm sorry, at this stage in the game, he's worthless, but I mean, he kind of had his time, didn't he? Like, there was a time where a lot of, like, really good competitive players were running with Ron Harper, because he was just a 6'6" point guard who came out on day one and everyone could get him. He has 70 speed, his lateral quickness. We all talk about his defense. His lateral quickness is in fact only like 80. He was never that good. He was never that good a player in game, but he was just effective at what he was. And like, even if we're looking at Ruby point guards, I don't have Nate McMillan, but Nate McMillan's just straight up better at everything than this card here. And there are other kind of tall guys like Sean Livingston. Like, as much as I don't even rate Sean Livingston is pretty much just Ron Harper, but better at everything. So yeah, he had his time. It was iconic, but he was terrible. Westbrook. I'm sorry, I'm putting Westbrook in D tier. This Westbrook sucks. He plays a bit of defense. Like, even though he only has bronze clamps, I mean, his defense still felt okay. And again, I'm gonna judge a card by how I felt how they were using them, not necessarily by their stats. There are cards with no clamps, in my opinion, that play really good defense. Like, and they don't need to guard ball. Like, for example, Kuz, I feel play, because Kuz is like Golden Interceptor and has brilliant tendencies. I think Kuz plays solid defense, even though Kuz has got no clamps. Like, everyone going crazy being like, Kuzma sucks, he has no clamps. Like, dude, he's playing power forward. He's guarding corner. You don't need clamps to guard corner. It helps. It sure as anything helps. But like, a card not having clamps that's meant to guard corner does not automatically mean they suck. But yeah, that's the case with him as well. But yeah, then we got Sleepy. E tier. I didn't even like Sleepy when the day he came out. I didn't like Sleepy. I told people they were crazy for locking in Sleepy the day he came out, because I was like, he's barely better than some of the current day point guards. And people just wanted a pink diamond. People just really wanted a pink diamond, so they got locked in for Sleepy, he's not really it. He was never really it, was he? His release was horrific. That upper Even though base 22 is fine, that upper pretty much made his release terrible. His jump shot is not great. His defense wasn't even spectacular. He was fine at a lot of things. He didn't even move particularly well. Yeah, he's going to go there. Dinwiddie, I'll go low B for Dinwiddie. He's like a slightly better version of the Sean Livingston card we got yesterday. He can hit wide open. He's better on current gen than he is on next gen. I think. He's better on one gen than he is on the other. He shoots, I think, better on current gen. Kind of floats a little bit for his jump shot, is easy to green. He's a tall point guard. He's 6'7". He's 6'6" with a long wingspan. He's got good speed, but terrible lateral quickness. Kind of the opposite to Livingston, who's got good lateral quickness, but terrible speed. So he's an interesting card. He's not unusably bad. He's not brilliant either, so he's going to go into B tier. This Stephen Curry, I'm honestly going to go B and S for Steph's. I think I'm looking at these guys right here, and there's none that even come into the conversation for S. I do think we've covered all of our bases with S tier. We've got Gary Payton, who's the best defensive point guard. We got John Wall, who is not quite Gary Payton, but very close to Payton on defense, but shoots a lot better than Payton, doesn't dribble quite as well. We got the 3 hunter in Steph Curry. We got Magic Johnson, who's just the tallest, and then we got Penny Hardaway. I think I've got my top 5. I think most people will agree on my top 5. Unless, for example, you want to put Iverson or Dame in, but for me, like, the only reason I don't have them in is just I just don't want too many similar players. Like, if you are a huge fan of Steph Curry, you're probably gonna have Dame, Iverson, and Steph in your top 5. Like, if you're a big fan of 3 hunters, you're probably gonna have all 3 of them in your top 5. But Stephon Marbury, 1 tier lower than whatever Rose is. He wasn't bad. He really wasn't bad when he came out. Very similar to Rose. I think later on in the year again, we're gonna have another Stephon Marbury card that's a D Rose clone. I think it's going to happen. We'll get a pink diamond D Rose, and the next week we'll get a diamond Stephon Marbury, the way 2K normally does it. 2K do it for something like that every year. Steve Francis, B. Like, the fact that Steve Francis in B tier is such a shock. He was one of my favorite point guards pre-patch. I can't do anything with the guy. He doesn't feel better. Like, he feels worse than Diamond. He feels like Diamond no range now. Like, there's a lot of stuff Steve Francis could do prior to the speed burst patch, the left riding patch. But most of the stuff that Steve Francis did really well, that made me call him at one stage the best point guard in the game. Most of that stuff that he did really, really well at that time, can't even do anymore. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We got Steve Francis in here in a tier probably lower than most of you guys would have thought, but I'm confident of that. I'm standing by Steve Francis being a B tier point guard. I fully believe he is a B tier point guard at this stage, which is sad because he was great at one stage. Nash, I think Nash is better than Steve Francis. I actually do think Nash is better than Steve Francis because Nash can do this weird thing where you just run into space. Like, Steve Nash dribble style is just basically like better fundamental. I don't even know what it is. Can't dunk, but he does have half range, and his defense is actually not bad. You just sprint into space and shoot with Nash because his release is pretty good. Like, Nash is not a he's not a bad card at all. So yeah, he's gonna go A. He's low A, but he's A. He's like, in my opinion, he's better than Steph. Trey Young's gonna go B. Again, there are guys that can cook with Trey Young. I've seen Wall on current gen just with the Trey Young fadeaways. He cooks with him. But at the same time, he's got slasher dribble style for a point guard. I don't care what his defensive ratings say, he's not a good defender. Most people that use Trey Young are not going to really enjoy the card, or are not going to have much success with the card. If he's not dropping 30 a game for you, he's going to be a liability. So yeah, he's going to go B tier. He's like a much worse version of Iverson Dame. And I think he's the same tier as Pink Diamond Steph. And I think Pink Diamond Steph being a B tier is probably the fair spot for him. If you want to move, you can move a lot of these guys maybe up a tier, but I think B tier is probably fair. And then we're going to go this Trey Young. He still does the same thing on offense without the defense. But I'm going to put Trey Young in C tier. And a lot of people be like, oh no, the other one's way, way better. And I do agree the other one's way better. But I still think this one's C tier. He can still cook. And this Trey Young can cook a lot better than this Iverson can cook. And neither of them can play any defense. Tyrese Maxey. High C. Like really high C tier. I actually really rate Tyrese Maxey. Screw it. Tyrese Maxey for me is better than Tiny Archibald. Tiny Archibald go down one. Tyrese Maxey go up. So Tyrese Maxey 6'2", got a decent wingspan, really good player build. But the thing with Tyrese Maxey that most people don't know is he's got a good release. He's got quick dribble style. He's also got like clamps on gold. Got the Scottie Pippen behind the back. Got the best behind the back in the game. The guy's like almost perfect animations. So if you're looking for a card that's like completely, well, kind of like underrated in this game, it's Maxey. I think Maxey was so underrated for his time as well. And Walt Frazier, wherever Jason Kidd is. See. Walt Frazier plays good defense. That's really it. His tendencies, his animations are brilliant. He was, from those, I'm trying to think the pink diamonds we got like week 1. Like I picked Frazier, and I stood by that being a good decision. I mean, he was my point guard for quite a while, so yeah, I stand by that decision. I'm happy I took Frazier. But nowadays, yeah, Frazier has not seen the court for me since, well, long before Eric Snow, I will say that much. Yeah, he's gonna go C tier. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm very confident with my top 5. The A and B tier one is really just preference based on playstyle. Like, there's a lot of guys that you might say that are in, say, A tier that you guys think should be in B tier and vice versa. I think a lot of that's playstyle. And then the worthless tier, maybe you're thinking some of these guys should be up, but they all kind of suck. So anyway, yeah, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.